Greetings. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so this Monday morning. This is, I don't know how this is going to go with the algorithm or anyone's even going to know what I'm talking about. So Total Recall. So it's I imagine it's been done as a book. Well, it has started came from a book, but the movie it came from a book. Basically, a character like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, we just use that for an example, where he's put a memory or he's given like an implant of a certain person, so he plays it out as a good guy when it's actually is the bad guy. Of course, he ends up being the good guy at the end. But it just shows that, all this secret space program stuff and all that, where people are going through what they're going through. But there are mind control programs. Yeah, like a loop to keep, especially those that have a heavy influence here. So those that have a large following, like in the spiritual groups, how many of them have been hijacked and put in a certain program to believe a certain whatever they want to believe, and it all fits an agenda. I've been getting this vibe of the Total Recall frequency recently, and I don't normally get that. So sometimes I get a vibe of a certain like spiritual person that's well known, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, they're having an interview. So there's something up. There's something going on in the astral realms and the ether realms, however you want to word it. But the Total Recall stuff is kind of serious. Not much we can do about it. There's always going to be, how do you know like some of these spiritual teachers have not been plugged into some kind of matrix to have a certain belief system? And just, people feel like it's false and they fight it, but others, the followers just can't seem to break free of it. Like they're under the hypnosis of it. That's, for example, you can say politicians go through it, celebrities go through it, and so on. So you can say it's a MyLab connection to a certain level, but it's mind control. So it's at a higher level that we're not supposed to understand. But so look at a crazy person talking about it. But is it, even some of these church preachers and all that, kind of like a doppelganger energy, just talking about God, and who knows if God can be like some creature being that swallows people up. I think I'm joking there. So something like a mythology creature from mythology. So, but yeah, Total Recall is just a mind control program. It's something to think about. It's not the easiest thing to tap into. Like the cloning is not easy to tap into. You can have your suspicions, but tapping into it's not the easiest because obviously there's an agenda connected to it. Like with the clones, there's an agenda there too, so they're not going to make it easy for anybody. I know your random person has intuitive connections, but I can figure out what a clone is. Now, are you sure about that? Because that's what they call it, cloning. They have to keep the story going, to keep this reality going. So they're not going to make it easy for you to puncture a hole into it. But like I said, Total Recall energy, just like a program, it's an agenda that you can plug it into somebody in astral. And of course, here in this reality, they just believe whatever they're going to believe, manipulating others, and they don't think they're doing that. But they're also a massive like psyop at a level that, I'm not going to name names, but just putting it out there though. Yeah, it's like sometimes it's the less likely person that you would realize. Sometimes your everyday Joes that are part of the spiritual community that have a pretty big following, sometimes there's something else going on there. So they hit us at every level. They want to try and become part of the common man, the system here that's manipulating. They want to look, hey man, I'm just like you. Hey, we can all relate to each other, and that's another. And same similar to like these churches, the same thing. Like you have people playing guitar, wearing regular clothes, they're not dressing up. Same situation. Trying to become more down to earth to everyone. So same thing in the spiritual community is going through the same. So what's happened to that is only so far I can go with that. Not sure where that subject matter will go, but yeah, it's just one of those mysteries we probably won't ever get. It's not a surprise when you hear about the monetary system is going to get changed. The mass arrest situation. What was the other one? We're going into 5D. Hear about that one a lot, and those are all psyops. So you can have someone innocent that believes it and just continues that narrative. But this world's been a physical reality for a long time. It's not going to just change overnight, or it's just. I don't, does it look like it's changing? I mean, it might improve in some areas. We have the banking system that's kind of a nightmare. All these layoffs are going on. I know some people would say it's good, but if everyone getting laid off or not thinking it's not good, they're all going to find their purpose and they're all going to open up businesses. Some will. They will just continue to be lost. So, Jumper, it's a movie. So we're going to the movie stuff. I'll show some of this too. That Jumper is interesting. That's been coming to mind too. So Total Recall has been coming to mind. And Jumper. So Jumper is a movie, and I'll show it here in a second. It's about teleporting. So some kids, I forget. I haven't seen the movie in ages. I haven't rewatched it. I saw Ant-Man instead, and that was a glorified kids movie. If you're a kid, 14, you're in your renaissance. But anyway, the Jumper, it wasn't that well received when it came out, but the movie itself is very detailed. To be something that's just a no big movie, it had the Jumper kid that would teleport into banks, steal from banks. Obviously, that's what got attention to him. And then you have these like Secret Service people or secret government people that already know about them, even have a weapon to shut them down. So it's a lot of details in a movie that you just having this teleporter kid jumping around. There's a lot more to it than that. So he goes to Egypt. I forgot the whole Egypt situation. I can't remember the movie for anything. Probably because I don't want you to remember it. Now is that happening here? Could be. We're not here to see it. Yeah, because there's a lot happens here in the fourth dimension that we're not supposed to know about. You have teleportation, you have cloning that's going on, you have time travelers here, and we're like the big cities like New York doesn't mean you can pick up on a teleporting energy, but you never know. You might walk by somebody that feel like they have teleporting energies. Doesn't mean that. Technically, we can all teleport in other realities, obviously, but anything is possible. So we just tap into that. Just bringing it up. There hasn't. I don't know. I haven't really looked that deep into it. Like there's like footage of teleportation somewhere. I haven't really thought that deeply into it. If it's been caught on camera, somebody wasn't there, and then all of a sudden they're there, and all of a sudden they're gone. So who knows? And also the Space Force. Just feel like I need to tap into that. It's our Galactic Federation. In some level, yeah, it's people. I believe a lot believe we're going to the fourth dimension and we're just going to fly around in our ships, but there's still going to be a physical element to it, and you just have a telepath or somebody that's intuitive connection. That would be connected to the Space Force to give some kind of empathic, guidance. I'm not sure if they have that now, but they definitely will have it in the future. But as for Space Force, it's I think it was the Galactic Federation of Light or whatever they call it these days. There is some transhumanism energy. Obviously, there's a dark side to everything. So, yeah, some give away their power very easily to it. It's up to them. Do as you must. Yeah, go do you. Yeah. Yeah. If you can't find your identity, just be careful of what you're getting yourself associated with. Yeah, because people will take you for a ride. There's no doubt about it. Well, they're on that ride too. They're kind of lost also. All right, so I'm telling comment, private sessions. Scheduler. I have a shop here. Webinar, social network, -C. Whoops. Oh, -C. Anyway. Archive, and if you want to post subject matters, sometimes I'll do a video on it and didn't do anything today, but feel free to post. I'll get to it eventually. Possibly. No guarantees, but there's a possibility. If it's going to benefit others, I'll do it. If it's going to benefit yourself, that's probably not going to happen. All right, so Total Recall. Yeah, he goes into this thing and he actually remembers, he kind of blows his cover a little bit, but, he's like a secret agent. There's a guy with a baby. But yeah, this is very, obviously, of course, people here can remember their lives on Mars and everything, but more power to you on that one. What I'm looking at there. Yeah. But anyway, he's put, this the villain. He's basically put, they give him like a program. I think he's the bad guy. But yeah, it's basically the bad guy that's there to find where is it? This thing. So they can assassinate it. Of course, he becomes a good guy after that. But basically, this is where they jack your brain, basically. So, and they blow his cover and so on. But yeah, this is kind of a serious thing when you think about it. It might be seen as not a big deal, but they put they implant memories and all that to make you have a certain belief system, and then you go program others. That's kind of a big deal. Doesn't mean it looks like that, but that's kind of a big deal. And then there's a jumper. I'm not sure if but anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, it didn't do too well when it came out, but like I said, there's a lot of details to this movie that is kind of maybe too many details there. So we'll just tap into those frequencies and see where we get to figure ourselves out there. Yeah, you might feel you have your own. Everybody has their own teleporting energy, but there are some that are like shapeshifters, teleporters, and so on. So, but yeah, this total recall stuff is kind of a big deal, especially when you're programming like politicians and things like that. And like I say, it goes into cloning in some way. There's just things they're not going to let us know. You can talk about cloning all day long. It's really hard to get actual proof, but obviously many can, they can program themselves to believe anything. And I have the proof, and there's really not much out there. But in their own mind, they believe there's a lot out there. Yeah, delusion is a tough one in the spiritual community. That's a tough growth there. All right, doesn't mean there's not anything. Yeah, definitely the cloning energies would just probably never forget. Would just never figure it out. They don't want us to figure it out. Like with Stranger Things, which is kind of a My Lab type of situation. Telekinesis and all that. mind control programs and so on. So, okay. All right. Fritzy is here. They're going to go to the vet tomorrow. And hopefully I can get them in their cage to get them in there. They like go into panic mode and they're crying the whole time. It's like, jeez. So, all right, we're going to Total Recall, Teleportation, and then the Space Force. So, greetings. We are you say the Total Recall consciousness, you can say. Mind control and time travel is connected. Basically, we got beings from the future that are programming people. Maybe not everybody, but certain individuals that do. Like your celebrities, even some of your scientists are hijacked. Not all of them, but some. To keep you from discovering more about yourself, actually. It's more of going backwards. They hold the Big Bang theory and all of that, a program. And they're going to continue with nonsense ideas like that. Basically, your Big Bang is kind of like a religion all on its own, because many do have mysteries of your reality, and obviously many of you are tapping into different realities of your past, which is still going to be difficult to bring into your modern realm for obvious reasons. There are gatekeepers here. So there are gatekeepers as for like Total Recall, even the teleportation. There are beings here that are literally, they're not going to mention their names and call them Men in Black. There's different beings, but they're doing everything they can to make sure certain information does not be put in your reality. Well, because you can start altering your reality and kind of like ruin it for everyone. It's going to start well. It's not going to end. It's just the agendas. It will spill into the agenda. Look at it that way, because you can actually hear it. As many of you know, here to awaken others, you can actually use your telepathic abilities to awaken others also. But obviously, there's a blockage. The gatekeepers here, yes, they have many agendas. It's convoluted. When it comes down to, but as for Total Recall, putting programs into people is, yes, common practice throughout history. It's not called that, but some are remembering themselves. Some are breaking out of these programs, but some are still active. And yes, they believe whatever they're putting out into society. Once again, some of your celebrities are part of these programs. A certain type of normalcy, basically covering up what's really going on in your world. And it's going to be difficult to find out what's happening here. They can give you a version of what's happening here when actually it's not the real version. Divert you from yourself. So there's like agents of chaos to keep you finding yourself. Look at it that way. But they do come off very friendly, very kind, and then add a spin to it. And some of you are saying, wow, this is a nice person, but something's not right about their message. It might look nice, perhaps it's nice vibration, but then you hear their information, it's like, something's not right there. So most likely there's a psyop going on multiple levels. Realize you're going into territory that can cause you problems. They're going to block it. They're going to say, yeah, you can try all day. You'll never know. You'll never figure this out. But it doesn't mean you can't get to the gates and know they're covering up something, and know that some of these spiritual messages or whatever it might be, because they're going after those that are weak to keep people, your average person from themselves. Many are going to spiritual development, but they're being skewed, misled, and they don't know where else to go. They just kind of continue into the maze of nowhere, but they feel like they're going in the right direction and not realizing there's other groups that are involved with all this. They keep this going. So there is just an alien psyop going on. There are alien beings involved with this, of course. There are the Greys, reptilians. There's all types of beings involved with this. It's not just one species. There's many. And they did not get up and just leave. No, they're still here. They like to tell you that they left. That's amusing. And those that believe it is even better. because then they just show if people believe that actually the negative alien races are gone, that just to them that's mission accomplished because obviously they're still here. And it kind of gives you an idea who's part of the psyop, the ones that are putting messages out there. So it's all about how they sell it. Greetings. We are connected to the teleportation consciousness of your reality. Some of you are actually time jumpers. I mean, you can manipulate time. Now, there's some things you are allowed to do. That it's not interfering with the main timeline. So you can manipulate time, make it slower, make it faster, manifest depending on what you can manifest. What it all depends on what you're manifesting. Will affect the collective? Will it derail the collective or the agenda? If not, you'd be surprised. It's some now. I realize also some do manifest things into their lives to actually shut them up. It's like so if you're very outgoing about spirituality, dimensions, but if you manifest this one thing to just keep you quiet, go on a vacation, leave everybody alone, you'd be surprised what you can manifest there. Yes, manifesting a muzzle. Because the beings here want to keep many confused. So there's so much confusion out there. As long as the truth is not getting a whole lot of attention, which it really isn't. You can say whatever you want. Most aren't going to believe it anyway. It's when you get too much attention, that's when those that are controlling your reality are going to get angry. Well, because they have a certain way of how they want this world to develop. Just like raising a child, there are gatekeepers of your reality that want to raise humanity a certain way. Doesn't mean all of you are going to follow it, but for the majority, and the mass majority is following it. So for teleportation, is this happening now? Well, the alien beings in the fourth dimension, yes. Are there teleporting beings here, like just beings that just come to your reality? Yes. Are they like physical humans? No. But there's a lot of teleporting frequencies here. No, you have to use technologies for more of the. Now, obviously, there's some that can do it, of course, with their own energy, but many use technology in the physical realities. But some of you might detect certain people that can do it. Now, there's different ways of teleportation in your physical, like you may be able to speed things up. You get in your car and all of a sudden you're at a location. There's different ways that you can teleport. Yes. You may get to places quicker than you thought. You get connected to people quicker than you thought. There are forms of it that can be done. Yes. So some of you might be able to tap into your teleporting energies depending on who you are. It's like somebody you might know you can feel it within you, but it's not fully activated for obvious reasons. But you can do it in other realities for whatever reason as necessary. Some like to teleport and scare people just for humor purposes, not scare them, but sneak up on them. There's a lot of that going on, and you can say those that can do that, have a way of concealing themselves. So there's also invisibility. So it doesn't mean that you're fully invisible, but you can move in undetected. Let's put it that way. Like others don't really see you. You're still there physically, but you can find a way of. Even the visible man was kind of visible in his own society, in his own reality. Even if he wasn't visible physically, technically nobody knew who he was anyway. So a teleporting person can do the same thing. You just basically, it's how you move through the reality. If you feel like you do teleport, even if you're not physically teleporting, like you're not jumping from one place to another, but do you feel like you are kind of moving through reality in a way that is a version of teleportation. Like I say, you get things quicker than others can get it. You get to places like there's a lot of traffic and you just find your way around it. It's a version of teleportation. Green sea, we are the consciousness of Space Force. There is a lot of reptilian energies there, not necessarily of the negative, but there's a lot of beings that are preparing it for human consumption eventually. Well, eventually, your average person will be able to go out in space. So they're seeing the very early stages. Of course, it's going to be government controlled, passports to space. But the thing is, this probably take a couple 100 years though. They're in no hurry for it. They still don't know what they're doing. Obviously, some of you tap into the alien frequencies feel like can do anything instantly. But that's in the fourth dimension. In this physical dimension, it's going to take longer. So obviously, astrally, you feel like you're ahead of time. You feel like you already created space stations and in the future and all that. But this reality, they're just getting started. At least physically. Yes, there are secret space programs. Most likely, they're keeping those out of the public domain and will continue to do so. But your Space Force, basically space tourism, space science, a portion of society will be out in space. You can say in the next few 100 years. And they'll be experimenting. It'll be like the Wild West. Some will live, some will die. I think some ships will go up fine, some will explode. It's progress here. It's just to keep things slow. Yeah, it's very slow. So obviously many of you are seeing the future much differently, but you are seeing a version. Realize it's as you advance yourself more galactically, it's time to connect to this reality because some are more higher frequency realms and they're not in touch with this reality at all. The more that you start to ground yourself with society, you might be a little bit more balanced with the earth and not so out there in space or the mind's in space. You can have your head in the clouds or you have your head in the higher dimensions. And yes, it's nicer there, yes. But you also have a mission here and you do yourself a favor. Doesn't mean you're downgrading, but you're just bringing your knowledge more in the physical realm to help those in the physical reality. So look, I'm flying high, but the world does need you. And when you come off that higher dimensional pedestal and start integrating your energy with the earth, and doesn't mean you're going to lose your vibration. You're actually extending it, but you're just having more it just helps your incarnation, helps your growth. And so if you realize like a space force is going to take a while to understand aliens, which they will, they're going to reject the whole idea of it publicly because that would scare people half to death. Obviously, there's astronauts that have seen some things, but like Space Force, there'll be portions of it where they won't see any alien group. They're going to keep that out of the public. There'll be some that'll see it. They'll have a meeting. The Men in Black will show up. And you might not ever hear about that person again. And then we're talking about personnel of the Space Force. Now, if you take your average person up into space and they start seeing alien beings, they'll probably not say anything about it until that person's, I don't know, crazy. They're going to just let you do your thing, unless you actually have like alien contact, like literally a alien being shows up in your bedroom or something like that. Then they'll move in and quiet that down sometimes. But if you keep it to yourself, you should be all right. How many are going to keep that? But yes, the physical reality, it's going to take some time. As you can see, things are very slow. They're not in any hurry to go into space. You can say they're preparing for it because they know they want to grow the economy, do something different. It's time. And obviously, the secret space energies that are going on. They've been doing their, like I said, they're not going to be known. They're going to keep that pretty. Every once in a while, there might be some mistakes there where it becomes, somebody might get some kind of reading or see something they're not supposed to see. But for the most part, it's going to be locked down. But this Space Force is about space tourism. You can say it's part of, basically, it's like creating another country in space. And all your other countries are going to do it. And obviously, they're going to argue about it because that's what they do best. And the US trying to consume and own space, basically. And they might actually be successful in that. Well, they'll have other regions, for China and other places, but yeah, the US is trying to dominate it, just like it's trying to dominate your reality. So they might be failing here in the physical realm, like they're getting weaker, but so it's another opportunity to make money, as some of you know, but it's going to take a while for that to be fully developed. And of course, they're doing espionage and all that in space. Of course, they're spying on each other left and right. They're like addicted to spying on each other. It's like they're the Kardashians to the government. They're really obsessed with it. They can't let it go. Well, it's like your worst kind of your governments are just as bad as your Kardashians, any of like your desperate housewives. It's kind of like that, but it's government people. They're really paranoid of each other. It'd be hilarious as a sitcom. It's like, wow, these people are really in the government. Yes, they're that bad. Yes. It's like Juvenile. Yes, it's like a 12-year-old that has access to missile technology. It's that bad. You already see a version of it. And you wonder how this is. Yeah, they think they're getting away with everything. You see how Biden, that's not going so well. Well, they're still having a blast with it, even if most people aren't buying into it anymore. But when you go into space, eventually there will be like alien ambassadors and things like that. But there will still be human. Like your humans will be alien ambassadors. If we have an alien in contact, we'll have our alien ambassador move in and say hi to everybody. But they're not quite to that level yet. There have definitely been discussions about it, but not likely anytime soon. They want to put people in space where it's safe zones. Yeah, we don't see secret space programs or anything. Less space junk, but they know there's a profit to be made there. It's going to be ugly though, because not everything's going to go according to plan. But they definitely want to do it eventually. They're not, like I said, they're not in a real hurry for it, but it's most like it's inevitable eventually. But in a few hundred years though.